All right, ladies, this is Push It class from Monday. So I'm going to show you everything that we're going to do one time, and then I want you to repeat it and do each exercise at least 3 times. All right, so the first thing we're going to do are some hip abductors. So if you don't have a mat, I'd like you to just put a throw blanket or a towel on the floor, and you can do this one of 2 ways. You can support your head with your arm, or you can lie all the way down on your arm that's underneath you. Then with your top arm, you're going to lean into that hand and keep your top hip forward. So at this point, you can bend your bottom knee back, flex the foot of your top leg so that your toe and your heel are nice and strong. And then you're going to exhale, lift that heel up about hip height and come down until you almost touch your bottom knee, but not quite. And up and back down, keeping that hip forward because it'll try to lean back on you. So keep this hip rotated forward. Exhale, lifting up and down. 3, 2, 1. Fight against gravity. You want to look in between your hands if you're doing it this way. If you want to do this a little bit more challenging way, you can also lift your bottom hip. So in that case, you would be up on your forearm, shoulder in line with your elbow, relaxing your bottom forearm, and then lift your hip up so that you're in a straight line from your underarm all the way down to the outside of your bottom leg. The range of motion is the same. Go up to the hip or just slightly above it, down all the way until you almost touch that bottom leg. And you're going to be looking straight ahead, most likely at your baseboard or the wall that's in front of you. I want you to do at least 10 of these, up to maybe 20, until you start failing to get up and down. All right, and switch sides. So you can either turn over and lay all the way down on that bottom arm or rest up on your forearm, or you can switch your head and your feet, which I'm going to do. So I'm going to raise my bottom hip up, my shoulders over my elbow on my bottom arm. My top foot is flexed and straight. And I'm lifting about hip height and coming down slowly. If this is too intense for you, you can come down and lay on your bottom arm, either propping your head up or laying all the way down, leaning your top hip forward up to about hip height and down. Make sure your knees are stacked, hips are stacked. You want to feel this in that top hip. All right, next up, we're going to do some bridges. So if you have a BOSU, a blue ball like this, or a big stability ball, you can do bridges with your head and shoulders on the BOSU or your feet up on the stability ball. Otherwise, you're just going to lie on your mat or your floor, hands on your hips, line your heels up behind your knees, squeeze your glutes, and lift your hips up. Squeezing and holding for at least 3 to 5 seconds, especially if you're not using a weight across your abdomen or laying on anything. I want you to really squeeze and hold. At least 3 to 5 seconds. Drive up with your glutes. Make sure your toes are down. You're pushing through your heels, feeling your hamstrings and your upper glutes. Make sure your thumbs are behind you so you can feel if your glutes are tight. And hover above the floor or the mat that you're on. Just hover and then drive up and hold. And again, at least 12 to 15 of these, up to 20 to 25, depending on how strong your glutes are and your hamstrings and how long it takes for you to get fatigued. Make sure you push up evenly and keep your knees in line with your toes. Don't let your knees bow out or in. Keep them in line with your toes. All right, next up, we're going to do some push-ups. So on your knees or your toes, you're going to get your hands even. If you're on your knees, drop your hips down below your shoulders, knees together, head out in front, and you're going to sink and press. If you're on your toes, You're gonna line your knees up under your hips. Make sure your feet are on a flat, strong surface, so not on a slippery blanket or a mat. Head out in front, down and up. Do at least 8 to 12 of these, up to 15 to 20, 3 times. Now, once you've completed that circuit of the abductors and the bridges and the push-ups 3 times, you can move into the next block. So if you need to do this block, finish 3 sets, pause the video, come back. Next up, second round, we're gonna do some lunges. So just getting things loosened up, we're gonna alternate feet together, hands under your chin or on your hips. I like mine up because that helps me keep my chest up. And you're gonna alternate and lunge straight back. So reach long, sink down, both knees at 90 degrees, up through your front heel, and switch sides. Down and drive up. Make sure your front foot is nice and straight. You're squatting down in your toe on your front leg, but pushing up through your heel. Reach long, but make sure you have control. Sink down and back up. I want you to do at least 10 per side. Down and drive up through your heel. Make sure your back foot is way up in the air. No heels near the ground on your back leg. Okay, once you've done at least 10 per side, next up you're going to do an inner thigh squat. If you have a dumbbell or just something heavy that you can hold without risk of injury to yourself, you can hold that item. I'm going to hold my water bottle in between my fingers here in my index, middle, and thumb. And I'm going to squat, making sure my heels are even across, and then toes are open, shoulders over the hips. You're going to sink down, pushing your knees out. I'm squatting down in my big toe, but I'm going to drive up through my heels, squeezing my backside as I stand up. Inhale down, and exhale, drive up through those heels. Squat down and drive up through those heels. Inhale down, hold at 2, 1, and drive up. Make sure your knees are making it over to your toes. If they were in like this, you would need to get closer together until they match your toes. If you feel stunted, get a little bit wider and see if you can reach out. Pushing those knees open, working those inner thighs, driving up, down and hold. If you have a dumbbell or something else, you can also hold it at your chest like this and back up. I'll step back so you can see, but I have it underneath my chin. So get those feet even, squat down and up. Down and hold. 3, 2, and up. Down and hold. 3, 2, and up. Hold it, tuck your hips. Make sure your booty's not sticking out, and up. Down and hold. 3, 2, and up. Down and hold. 3, 2. Make sure not to rest, just stand and then sink right back into it. 3, 2, 3, 2. All right, once you're done with that, you can set your weight down and grab a little drink. And we're going to do a plank. So we're going to go from your forearms up to your hands. If you can't do that, you can just hold the plank on your forearms like this, on your knees or your toes. Or you can hold in a plank on your hands, on your toes, or your knees. Otherwise, I want you to get into a plank, feet a little bit apart, and you're going to come down to your forearms and push up to your hands. Down on your forearms, up to the hands. Do this at least 6 times. On your forearms, it looks like this. You still get work. Up to the hands. It works the shoulders. Alternate which arm starts the move each time you do it. All right. Next up, we have abs. So if you have a mat, you can have a seat on your mat. Feet up, knees bent. If you've got something you can brace your feet against, feel free to use it. Otherwise, just pull your toes up. You're going to inhale, roll back, 1 vertebrae at a time, and exhale, chin down, crunch up. Inhale, roll back. Slowly, make sure you can get up without your legs lifting. If they're lifting, don't go back as far. Go to here and up if your legs are lifting up. Inhale down, exhale lift. Do at least 10 to 15 of these. Make sure when you come up, you're not going any further than your wrist in front of your knees. You don't want your core to turn off. Keep your chin down. All right. So that was round 2. So I want you to repeat each thing, starting with the lunges, alternating, reach down, sink close to the floor, hands anchored, hold a weight if you have one. You can also hold weights down here like this if you have 1 or 2 lighter weights, or up on your shoulders. Second thing, if you've got a dumbbell or something to hold on to, I held my water bottle last time, do those inner thigh squats. So get a nice wide stance. Make sure the heels and toes are even and evenly turned. Squat down and hold. Tuck your hips. Push up through your heels. Go down in your toes. Down in the big toe. Up through the heels. Hold it. 2, 1, and up. Next up are the planks. You can either hold a plank on your hands or your forearms, or you can go in between. And you can also do this move on your forearms, holding or moving. And then we're going to flip and do the abs. So chin down, roll back, and crunch up. And when you finish the 3rd round of this, or after you do each set of abs, you can add in some jumping jacks or some jump tap speed skaters. So you can tap for light impact, or you can jump for a little heavier impact. And again, you can tap for light impact or jump for heavier impact. All right, so after that round is done, we've got one more short round. We're gonna do some stationary lunges and some tricep push-ups. So grab your dumbbell if you have one. So you did the alternating last time, now we're gonna do stationary. So front leg straight, down and up 90 degrees, back heel is up, down in your front toe, up through your front heel. Make sure your weight's about 70-30. 70% on the front leg, 30 on the back leg. $10 to $12 per side, and then you're gonna switch. Make sure you've got a nice reach so you get a nice stretch in the top of your back leg, but you still wanna be in control up front. 70-30 split, back heel is elevated. Two more, at least, if you're following with me. Okay, next up, final thing, tricep push-ups. Again, you can do this on your knees or your toes. Index finger and thumb together, making a diamond. So this with your hand, index finger and thumb. Lead with your chest. And then push your elbows out and then drive your arms up. So use your triceps to push yourself back up. You can also place your hands down, fingers forward, and elbows back, straight in tight to your sides. Bend your elbows and then extend. Push with the heels of your hands, working those tricep muscles. You can try it on your toes too, but if you do that, just do a narrower push-up position. All right, so now you're going to get up and either do a low impact speed skater or jack, or you're going to jump or squat and jump, pushing off the inside of your foot. And then repeat, do those stationary lunges. Make sure you go slow, go down to 90 and drive up. 10 to 12 per side, and then tricep push-ups, either with that diamond position on the knees or elbows back on your knees or toes. All right, have a great workout. Have a great day.